So what's better than having one Switchback HD with DJI FPV system built into it? Having another with the Sharkbite HD FPV system in it. Let's talk about it right now on the channel. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dorky M40 RC channel. A little something different for you guys today. FPV. You know I fly. You know that's kind of how things started. Let's talk about these Switchback HD frames. So if you don't know what we're talking about Evan Turner, the fastest FPV pilot on the planet, DRL champion, multi-GP champion, owner and whatever of Fly 533. Switchback, his racing frame, everybody uses it. They came out finally with these HD frames that are a little bit bigger, that will fit Caddx Vistas, Sharkbite systems, everything like that. You know, I'm not a big racer, but usually fly freestyle, but I do like to build good quads these days. I don't buy and build any junk. I rarely build a quad, but when I saw that these were coming out, I wanted to go ahead and build a real legit HD racing frame. And it looks like he's already working on another one called the Switchback Zero, possibly, which might give you an opinion on which way he may be leaning. So I don't really want to talk about the comparisons between the two systems today. Very happy with Sharkbite and DJI. They both have their advantages and disadvantages, but what I wanted to do is just kind of give you guys a quick build overview on the bench here, show you how things go, just in case you get these and you might be wondering how to kind of piece things together yourself. Maybe save you a little bit of time and effort that I already put in. So let's take a look at the DJI system first. First of all, you can see that it is covered up with these genius stack savers that they make at 533. I wish they would make them a little bit bigger so we could put them around our freestyle quads. Just a fantastic idea. This one here is already dirty. Saved me a lot of grass and problems getting inside my stack. Now, if you take a look here, you can just kind of see how things go. I actually ended up mounting the Vista unit to the top plate, and you basically want to mount your 20 by 20 stacks all the way as far forward as you can. So you end up getting something that looks like that, and you'll have plenty of room, no problem squeezing anything in at all. The HD version of the Switchback comes with a special camera mount that will fit micro-sized cameras, so it fits the regular Caddx Vista camera perfectly. It also comes with this little TPU antenna mount that you can just zip tie your antenna to here on the back. Everything just fits, works, and flies fantastic. Went ahead and flashed this with the latest beta flight right now, which is 4.29, even though I believe 4.3 is ready to drop, and went ahead and copied over all of Evan's tune and then set everything up the way that I wanted to. And this thing's running the heads-up motors. It's running the Talon stack inside there, and a tracer. It just couldn't be better. Flies fantastic. So now let's talk about this Sharkbite build. It was a little challenging to get everything in there, and I had to make a lot of changes and kind of improvise along the way to make everything work the way it did. All in all, things worked out very well, and I'm pretty happy with it. So let me show you this now, and we'll go over what I did and had to do to make everything fit in there just perfectly. If you got a better way to do this, please let everybody know. And I think that would be really helpful to the 533 community. So initially, I was going to pretty much use all of the same parts inside here, except for adding in the Sharkbite. But of course, things just don't work out that way. I had a bad Talon F7 board, or I might have fried it. Who knows? Things just kind of happen. Again, you want to mount your stack as far forward as you can. There's going to be different 20 by 20 mounting positions in here. At least if you are going with the 5R Sharkbite board, which is the one that's real long and has the rubber bobbins inside, just to get everything in there. You can kind of see how it just all fits together perfectly in there. But this took a little bit of on the spot improvising to get things going. So the Sharkbite itself, I originally had everything mounted in the middle, and I put the Sharkbite receiver at the top of the stack. I really don't like super tall stacks. You know, when you get into like 25, 30 millimeter bolts, things just kind of get kind of wonky. Your tuning and filtering doesn't seem to work as well as you would like it to. So I ended up kind of moving things around a little bit. So it would fit right in the middle if you want to just go ahead and kind of make a few adjustments on the fly, as far as like not using like the metal prop nuts for your bolts that come with the kit. You would want to use some plastic ones, maybe some O-rings in between your ESC and your flight controller, so that way you can get a little bit of squish. You want to save as much distance or height in here as you can. In fact, you want to do that regardless. That's what I ended up having to do here. So I didn't like the way that that was flying. I was having some weird bobbles and stuff like that because I really didn't have good compression on the stack, and it just didn't like it. So took everything apart, moved the stack forward, and then I had to figure out what to do with the actual Sharkbite VTX here, which I'm actually looking at this right here, and I can see that I'm missing a nut there on top. So I'm going to have to actually fix that here when we are done. So what I ended up doing is moving all that to the forward, and then you got to watch out because how all this kind of, if you want to use the soft mounting and the mounting and everything that's built into the plate and the Sharkbite VTX, then the first thing you're going to have to do is do everything you can to shrink the size of your stack. So again, instead of using like the metal nuts for the M3 bolts, I ended up using plastic all the way down on the bottom here, and I ended up using a layer of O-ring in between the ESC and the flight controller. This is the Hobbywing convertible F7 stack. Everything fits in there just barely perfect. Now things are probably going to differ depending upon what stack you use, but this is pretty much the overall deal. Then there's plenty of room there in the back, as you can see, for the tracer and the cap and everything else like that. So nothing's getting squeezed or anything there. Now, when it came to installing the Sharkbite to the top plate, this is where things got a little interesting. So you could see that the frame here has these two kind of like arches where you can mount things. And then there's actually a 20x20 mounting here in the back. That's where I put the Vista on the other build. Well, you can't go all the way to the back. At least I couldn't with the 5R Trans VTX. And you couldn't really use the holes in the middle because you still gotta put bolts in there to tighten down your stack and everything else like that. So it was pretty picky as far as what I had to do. First thing I needed to do after I got the stack mounted was I had to cut the bolts off of the stack to just make them as low as possible. So that way there wasn't anything sticking up or protruding. So nothing was touching this Sharkbite board. So we finally got that figured out. And it was kind of mock fitting this at the same time to the plate. I figured out that these holes back here, of course, are only for M2. The bobbins and the equipment to mount the Sharkbite is M3. So I had to drill those out for M3 bolts. And I went with a bolt right up through the bottom there into the top and a nut on top of that, one on each side. And that is holding the Sharkbite VTX in place there. And everything has been working perfect. It's very secure. Again, using the same TPU antenna mount back here to go ahead and zip tie the UFL attachment antenna. And I set that all up inside there because this is the VTX that actually has the retaining clip on the UFL that you can put on there to make everything all good. And yeah, loaded the same tune on it and everything, and it flies great. I'll put a little bit of footage up here so you can just see that it's flying for real. And so far everything's been great. I did have one of these Sharkbite VTXs just die here on the bench. No smoke, no nothing. Just died. You know how FPV products are, any kind of electronic products, and I'm sure things like that are just going to happen a little bit more now with the times that we are in. But as I continue to fly these and I kind of work back and forth between my Mambo and my Tango 2, we'll be getting back into some videos and show you guys kind of how I feel about all this kind of stuff. I think on their Facebook group, I saw that they might be working on some kind of a long range or freestyle frame. So you know that is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that. But yes, right now, doing the whole TBS multi-bind thing, going back and forth between the Tango 2 and the Mambo, just trying to figure out which one that I like for certain, you know, things like fast freestyle or whatever. Kind of leaning still towards the Tango 2. It just seems to fit my hands a lot better. I don't know if it's because I've just used it for that much longer or what, but I really like it. Flying the small OG 533 batteries on these. Weights, the DJI system, I'm at 337 with props, no battery. And the Sharkbite system is coming in at 315, no props and with props and no battery. So about 22 grams lighter on the Sharkbite system. So yeah, I haven't got to fly these babies as much as I would have liked to. The weather has been just like atrocious and daylight savings time is coming up. So that's going to cut into flight time even more. But if you're looking for a good, just a great frame to kind of play with over here of the winter, or if you're lucky enough that you could still race, it looks like they're all in on this Sharkbite stuff. I would say I would go that route before I would go the DJI route, just because I think that the latency issues is where they're going to focus their attention, and it's way better having like a constant latency versus the variable. DJI does have that 4x3 though, so what we really need is a Sharkbite camera in a micro size that's 4x3 and not 16x9. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If we can help you out, peace.